Hello, my dear students. Welcome to physics class. I am Dr. Prasanna, physics teacher.
My name is Abhishek. I'm from Himamshu PU College. Currently a student studying in Divya institution.
Yes, Abhishek. So today, in this session, we are going to discuss one more derivation which comes under the projectile motion.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So now last class ಅಲ್ಲಿ projectile motion ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್
Examples.
ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ
Yes, sir.
ರೈಟ್ ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಒನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಶೋ ದಟ್ ದ ಟ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟರಿ ಆಫ್ ಎ projectile is a parabola.
Bola.
Okay, so let us consider a particle. Okay, now so right, and for our reference, this one is x-axis and this one is y-axis, and from the origin O, we going to throw an object into the space with the initial velocity u. Okay, so when object is thrown into the space which moves under the effect of gravity is called projectile motion. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಬಾಡಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ತರ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಓಕೆ ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪಾತ್ ಟ್ರೇಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಎ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೈಲ್ is called trajectory. Okay, the path traced by a projectile is called trajectory. Okay, so then once you thrown into the space, okay, with the initial velocity u, making an angle theta with the horizontal. Okay, right. So let us consider a projectile is thrown into the space with the initial velocity u, and the angle between the direction of projection and the horizontal is angle of projection is that is theta. Okay, right. Now when the object is thrown into a space, it moves under the gravity and it will strikes the ground at a point q, let us say. Okay, right. So now we know that the initial velocity is a vector quantity, correct?
Yes,
okay, so that can be resolved into its component. So let us take u is a vector quantity, that is initial velocity. So that can be resolved into two components. One is u
suffix
cos theta, that is equal to u suffix x.
Yes, sir.
Right, and another one is
U sin theta.
u sin theta is equal to u suffix y. Right, so this is a vector.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so here we have resolved that initial velocity into its components along x-axis and y-axis, that is u cos theta along ox I can say, and u sin theta along oy.
Okay, sir.
Oy. Okay, right. So now assume that in a time t, the particle has reached or projectile has reached to a point p. Okay. So to a point p, then to represent that the position of the particle, we require two coordinates, that is x comma y. Right, one is along x-axis and one is along y-axis. Okay, right. So now refer the horizontal distance covered by the projectile in a time t. Okay, so a particle has reached to a point p in a time t. Okay, so now I am referring what is the horizontal distance covered by the projectile in a time t when it reaches to a point p. Okay, right. And also we know that the horizontal component of the initial velocity is unaffected by the gravity, and vertical component of the initial velocity is affected by the gravity. Okay, right. Then the horizontal distance traveled in a time t is given by the equation to find the distance. That is what we have a kinematic equation. Recall the second kinematic equation, that is s is equal to u t plus half at square. Okay, so now we are referring only the horizontal distance covered by a particle, correct?
Yes, sir.
In a time t. In a time t. Okay, right. So then s can be written as s suffix x, that is the distance covered by the particle along the horizontal direction, that is equal to u ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ u suffix x ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So into t plus half into a suffix x into t square, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then the horizontal distance covered by the projectile in a time t, that is x suffix x is equal to, what is u suffix x? u cos
cos
theta,
theta.
right? Okay, so u suffix x
X is
is equal to u cos theta into time t,
T.
because in a time t only
The u
the particle is covering a distance, horizontal distance, that is u suffix x suffix s.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
right. So plus half into what is a suffix x? It is
Is
0,
zero.
because there is no acceleration along the horizontal direction, right? Into t square. So what we will get, that is x suffix x is equal to u cos theta into t.
T.
Okay, then t is equal to, that is
Is
s suffix
fix
x
x
divided by u cos theta.
theta
So we got the time, that is t is equal
equal
to
to
s suffix x divided by u
u
cos
cos
theta.
theta.
So let me call this is equation number 1.
1. Okay, sir.
Okay, understood, right? Fine. So then, okay, I can also call this, that is whatever the distance is covered along the horizontal direction, right? So I can also write this one, instead of s suffix x, you can write t is equal to x divided by u cos theta. Okay, so you can also written like this, that is x is the distance,
Okay.
right, along the horizontal direction in a time t.
T.
Okay, so you call this is equation
Equation
number
number
1,
1.
right?
Okay.
Fine. Next, now let us write what is vertical distance covered by a particle in a time t.
T.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
that is vertical distance
traveled in time.
traveled in a
Time T.
time t is given by, that is write the general formula first, that is s
S
is equal to
U
u u into t plus half
A
a t square.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are referring only vertical distance, correct? So that I can write here, that is s suffix y is equal to u suffix y into t plus
half
half into
A
a suffix y into t square, correct? Okay, what is s suffix y? It is y,
Y
that is the y is the distance traveled by a
traveled
particle in a time t,
T.
correct? So then u suffix y is u sin theta
into time.
time. See, we know that t is equal to x divided by u cos theta, where it is from
From
1,
equation number 1.
from 1.
Okay.
Okay, so let us substitute here, then t is equal to x into u cos theta
Okay.
plus half into, what is a y? It's a
Is
minus
minus
g.
G.
Okay, so when particle is moving vertically upward, what is the acceleration? That is, it is minus g, it is acting
negative.
downward direction. Okay, so it is minus g into t square, that is x square divided by u square into cos square theta.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Then y is equal to, this u get cancelled, denominator and numerator, then sin theta divided by cos theta, tan theta, correct? So tan theta into x plus into minus, right? G into x square, gx square divided by 2 into u square cos square theta,
Okay.
correct? So let me call this is equation number 2. See, we know the parabola equation. What is the parabola equation? That is y is equal to ax minus bx square. Okay, so let me call this equation number 3. Comparing equation number 2 and 3.
Okay.
Right? So comparing equation number 2 and 3, so what we will get, that is a is equal to tan theta and b is equal to gx square g divided by 2 u square cos square theta. What is that? A is equal to tan theta and b is equal to g divided by 2 u square cos square theta, because in the place of a, what we have here, tan theta, that is x is there, and in the place of b, that is g divided by 2 u square cos square theta, and x square is also there. So that I can write here, that is A is equal to tan theta and B is equal to G divided by 2 into U square cos square theta.
Okay.
So if you compare these two equations are similar, then I can say that the trajectory of a projectile is a parabola. Okay, na?
Okay.
So what is trajectory? That is path traced by the projectile
projectile.
is called trajectory, and we have shown that the trajectory of a projectile is a parabola. So students, make a note of it in your board exam. This question carries 3 mark or a 5 mark derivation. Okay, so show that the trajectory of a projectile is a parabola. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ?
Okay, sir.
Right. Students, let me introduce 3 important terms which is related to projectile motion. One is the maximum height reached by the projectile, and other one is the time of flight, and third one is range of the projectile. Okay, so now let me derive the expression for the maximum height reached by the projectile. Okay, so the same statement you can make it. Okay, so let me consider a particle is moving with the initial velocity u, or a particle is projected into a space with the initial velocity u. Okay, so for our reference I will name this as x-axis, and this one is y-axis, and this is the origin. Okay, so I'll going to project a projectile with the initial velocity u. Okay, right? So the angle between the direction of the projectile and the horizontal at this point, let me refer it as theta. Okay, so now when the projectile is thrown into the space, it moves under the effect of gravity
and forms a
parabola. Correct? Okay, and it strikes the ground at point q. Okay, so now I wanted to derive what is the maximum height attained by the projectile, or maximum vertical distance covered by a projectile, I can say. Okay, so this is nothing but that is maximum height. Correct? So that is denoting by the notation that is capital H. Okay, so then we also know that that is the initial velocity vector can be resolved into its component, that is u vector can be resolved along the x-axis, that is u cos theta is equal to u suffix x, and the vertical direction, that is u sin theta is equal to u suffix y. Okay, with reference to the angle that is theta here. Okay, right. So then when projectile is projected with the initial velocity making an angle theta with the horizontal, so let us assume that in a time t, okay, the particle has reached to a maximum height, that is h. Okay, right. So then I want to derive what is the maximum height reached by the projectile, right? So to derive that, let me recall the kinematic equation. So in order to derive the maximum height reached by a projectile, let me recall the kinematic equation. The third kinematic equation is given by v square is equal to u square plus 2a s. Correct? Okay, right. And also you know that here the horizontal component is unaffected by the gravity. Which horizontal component? That is horizontal component of the initial velocity is unaffected by the gravity, and the vertical component of the initial velocity is affected by the gravity.
Okay.
Now, so let us assume in a time t, the particle has reached to a maximum height h. Correct? Okay, so then now you tell me what is the vertical component, that is u suffix y is equal to what? U sin theta.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Then substitute here, that is v suffix y square is equal to u suffix y square plus 2a suffix y into h, that is the vertical displacement, maximum vertical displacement. Correct? What is the, when the projectile is reached to a maximum height, then what is the vertical component of the Initial velocity at the maximum height 0.
Zero.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then Vy is equal to 0.
Zero.
So that is V suffix y is
Zero.
equal to 0.
Zero.
Correct? Then what is u suffix y? So we'll do the substitution here. U suffix y is
U square
u square
into sine
square theta. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so plus 2 into what is a suffix y? That is acceleration along the vertical direction. That is minus g into h. So then what we will get? That is u square sine square theta is equal to, no, this is we have taken to the left hand side, right? That is 2g h. Then h is equal to
U square
u square
sine
square theta
divided
by
2g.
2g. Okay, so this is the maximum height reached by the projectile. That is maximum vertical displacement of the projectile is given by h is equal to u square sine square theta divided by 2g. Okay, so ಈ ಎರಡೂ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸು ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದು? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೈಲ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ y ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಟ್ಯಾನ್ ಥೀಟಾ ಇಂಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಜಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ 2u ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಥೀಟಾ, ಒಂದು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ನು h ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಯು ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಸೈನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಥೀಟಾ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ 2g. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಈ ಎರಡೂ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ನ ನೀವು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೈಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಹೈಟ್ ಅಟೈನ್ ಬೈ ದ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೈಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ನ ನೋಡಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಇಫ್ ಥೀಟಾ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 90 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ, ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಇಫ್ ಥೀಟಾ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 90 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ, what is sin 90 value? 1, right? So sin 90 value is equal to 1. In this equation, if you refer, theta is equal to 90 degree, right? So then the maximum height is equal to u square into sin square theta, that is 1 square, correct? So sin 90 is 1, sin square theta is sin 90 square, correct? 1. 1 square is 1. Then divided by 2g, right? ಸೊ ಈ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ನ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ರಿ? ಮೋಷನ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಹೆಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಯು ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ 2g ಅಂತ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ರಿ, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ನೀವು ಬರೀ ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಂಪೋನೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೈಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಎ 1 ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೋಷನ್. Okay, right? So there we studied that is small h is equal to u square by 2g. In where? That is motion a straight line chapter. Okay, so here that is capital H, maximum height attained by the projectile, u square divided by 2g. So ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು? That is the vertical displacement of a projectile is directly proportional to square of the initial velocity ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ g remains constant. Okay, right? See, one more thing you need to note down, my dear students, here. Whatever the discussion we are making about a projectile motion, we neglected the air resistance here. Okay, right? So projectile ಯಾವಾಗ projectile motion exhibit ಮಾಡುತ್ತೋ, right? So ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, the resistance of the air is neglected. Okay, right? So ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ? So this derivation carries 3 mark in your board exam. Okay, and also there are many questions are appeared in the competitive exam based on this equation, that is maximum height attained by the projectile h is equal to u square sin square theta divided by 2g. And what is the projectile motion equation? That is y is equal to tan theta into x minus gx square divided by 2u square cos square theta, right? Okay, so I hope all of you understood this derivations, correct? Okay. Yes, students, I hope all of you understood this class. ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಾಕೋದ್ರೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸನ್ನು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆದಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.